Welcome to MCAP. With 700 employees across 8 offices in Canada, MCAP is one of the country's largest independent mortgage financing companies. With the recent task of migrating over 300 of their employees into their beautiful new Waterloo-based office, MCAP knew they would need top-of-the-line security systems in place to keep their substantial staff safe without feeling like they were under lockdown. To solve this problem, MCAP turned to the experts at Bulldog Fire Security who recommended an entranceway camera, card access systems, and anti-tailgating units which sound an alarm if someone walks through a designated area without proper credentials. In this case study, we're going to be taking a look at the working relationship between MCAP and Bulldog Fire Security.
That's a great question. This is a new type of office for us. It's on the ground level of a building where the public can enter, which we're not used to. Typically we are in a high-rise office tower. So this office here is a new challenge for us. So we wanted to ensure that, as in all of our offices, that our employees were safe as well as our files. So it was important that we had good security here because we didn't know what type of foot traffic we would have.
So they've got card access, security, an intrusion system, and a camera in there. There was base build on that site, and they were basically renting a space inside of that space, so we just added onto the system that we already installed. So they also had anti-tailgating units put in there that alert them if someone enters the premise without scanning a card first, and that seems to satisfy what they needed.
Definitely the unknown, not knowing who would be in the building, and just making sure that we were providing the right security without people feeling that they were actually in too tight of an environment. There was freedom as well, but security for everybody.
I think it was trying to understand how the system was really going to work for us, and having employees coming between. We have an entirely separate suite. Suite B and Suite A are entirely separate, and having staff move freely back and forth was a challenge through the card system. And without seeing it before we moved in, I think we were all terribly concerned about how the card swipe was going to work, how the tailgating was going to work, and how that really was going to affect our staff members moving freely through the different suites and the facility itself. But in hindsight, now that we've moved in, it's really not as overwhelming as what we thought it was going to be. It's working quite smoothly, and in fact, our staff has gotten so used to the process and that swiping is just second to them. And as you've probably witnessed, you can very rarely hear the beeper go off. So it seems to be working very well.
So yeah, there was a lot of questions coming through from the customer throughout the entire job. They were used to a certain kind of environment and managing that space with security in mind. This was a different kind of atmosphere for them because it was a rented space instead of a base building space. So there was a lot of questions along the way, and there was a lot of stopping by site to show them and just make them feel good about what they purchased here, and most importantly though, making sure that we met exactly what they had expected in the way of security.
Setting up the system, they pretty much looked onto the floor plan, and between the discussions of Ron and Regina and the needs, determined what we needed to set forth, what was going to work for us, what wasn't going to work for us, and it was initiating those plans basically. From my own perspective, this is my first security company at this level, certainly working with and working very closely, and I would say Bulldog is extremely attentive to our needs as a customer. And like I say, we were not very familiar with the process as to how it was going to be rolled out, and Bulldog was right there by our sides going through every single day when we moved people in here in phases, and we did some tweaks through the process, and they were there every single day with us.
I know that they really appreciated the amount of times that I would stop by there and like I say, there was a lot of readjustments to make, so the main contact there was under a lot of pressure at the start. She not only had to deal with our stuff, but mechanical, electrical, all that stuff as well. So I made it a point to stop by there at least once a week and make sure everything was working well, and seeing if they had any requests for changes or anything else they wanted to see done a little bit differently. So I think that was really appreciated on their end, that we were there for them the entire way through the project.
They were very adaptable, and they were really interested in what would work for us and what didn't. They heard our side, and they were just great to work. Like Sean was great to work with, and was always here, definitely always here to answer any questions. And even after we moved in, things that needed to be tweaked, it was never a problem.
The timelines on this one were very, very aggressive. They had certain dates in mind, and the builder on this job agreed to meeting those dates with all their trades. So for us to stay on top of that, when keeping in mind we're relying on cable tray going in and the drywall being there and the door frames being in there and hardware on there, it was very aggressive for us, but we had the flexibility on this one that we were able to go in there after hours and on weekends and do whatever it took to get the job done. And it actually turned out really well. We were the first ones done on that site, so they were really appreciative of that as well.
Service and being able to contact them and getting a response. I was maintaining that after the invoices, the system is installed, like anything, if the system is installed, the invoice is paid. If we get good service, which has been proven, that's really what's important.